Joking! Hi everybody, Zack is here with my WWE Battleground review for tonight, Sunday, October the 6th, 2013, from Buffalo, New York. Where as you just saw by the title, and also by what I just did, we all know the biggest talk of Battleground tonight, a power outage just before our main event for the WWE Championship, and I kinda knew something was gonna happen. Something screwy was gonna happen during the main event. I didn't know it was gonna be involved in this, as you will also see by the title. And my thoughts on pay-per-view itself, besides those little things, it was okay pay-per-view tonight. The planning was last minute. The first match, main event, and the main card was pretty good. The mid card was okay. There was only maybe one really good mid card match, but the rest of the mid card, the undercard, was just mixed bag tonight. I think I gave Night Champions 6.5. Now I was looking at this at 6.5. Main event ending was a little screwy, but at least it sets up for Hell in a Cell for sure, which I'll explain in the match. So like I said, 6.5 out of 5. I wish there was better matches in the undercard. The undercard didn't live up to the first and last match. Before we get to our main card, on with the pre-show, I got to watch. Well, I missed like the beginning of it. I catch the last 10 minutes of the Dolph Ziggler and DAMIAN SANDOW match. One former Money Bank winner, Ziggler, taking on the current Money Bank holder, DAMIAN SANDOW. And SANDOW was hoping to cash it in tonight on the winner of the RVD and Alberto Del Rio match, which is the first match of the main card. But SANDOW, the match is pretty good between SANDOW and Ziggler. I think these two guys are pretty good athletes, and I think they should have had a good match despite lack of hype for all pretty much. But still, SANDOW got the advantage of the course. Ziggler, of course, got back with his flying moves. Of course, SANDOW made a mistake though. He's of course an intellect. Well, the intellect got outsmarted because he used his knee for a big move. He kneed Ziggler pretty hard. He even put his knee brace down to knee Ziggler, which turned out to be his downfall because Ziggler went for the knee many times before setting up the zigzag and a 1-2-3 victory for Ziggler midway towards the end of the matchup. And of course, SANDOW would be carried out to the back, which would prevent him from cashing in tonight. Now I know a lot of people had signs that said cashing in SANDOW when he never did because he got injured during his matchup. I think WWE purposely put SANDOW in the pregame to prevent and have this injury storyline to prevent him from cashing in tonight. Anyway, on with our first match in the main card. By the way, 2.2. 2.3 out of 5. Because I only saw the last 10 minutes of the matchup. And what I saw was pretty good. Pretty good action from these guys. Now, on with our first match of the main card, which is for the World Heavyweight Championship, Extreme Rules. Rob Van Dam taking on Alberto Del Rio. If you were to name any match good in this pay-per-view, this would probably be it. Best match tonight, if you were, like I said, naming anything best out of this bunch, it was this one. RVD, we all knew the advantage was going to be in his corner, despite his contract problems. He went into this match with the sides with him because, you know, ECW, big time weapons used. He brought out a chair and basically dominated the early going of the matchup. Like I said, the odds were in his favor going into this match because of the stipulation. Coming in his big high flying style, jumping onto the barricade, nailing Alberto all over the place, bringing out a weapon of sorts. With of course the chair, that was the first weapon of usage. And then of course after all of these early advantages with the chair, of course Del Rio came back in the action with a backstab, which gave him the advantage for most of the middle half of this matchup, nailing RVD a lot of times with the chair. And the crowd was decent tonight in Buffalo, especially when they were chanting, "We want tables!" Apparently nobody listened. But we did get a ladder midway towards the match. RVD nailed Alberto very hard. It was just a fight. Extreme Rules match, hardcore rules, what you want to call it. It was just an intense match. It was just very physical. And then, of course, with that ladder, RVD really nailed Del Rio with the ladder a lot in the later half, even nailing all of his big moves on it, like nailing him in the turnbuckle with the ladder, nailing the rolling thunder on the ladder, the monkey flip. He was just nailing everything. And of course, Del Rio came flying back, avoiding it. And obviously, he did hit the ladder as he was trying to go for the rolling thunder. And then Alberto, after that missed attempt by the RVD for the rolling thunder, he got the cross-arm breaker in, one of many attempts. And then Alberto Del Rio's former guy, who's not RVD's guy, of course, Ricardo Rodriguez, nailed Alberto with the bucket. And all of a sudden, Del Rio got nailed big time by Ricardo, nailing him big time with the bucket, which was illegal because, like I said, no DQ. And Alberto got the best of Ricardo, though, after a little brawl. Alberto knocked him out with a big kick, taking him out of any more interfering during the matchup. After Ricardo was taken care of, RVD came back in action. Indeed, nailing him with a big frog splash from the turnbuckle. Not a 5-star frog, but still, maybe a 3-star splash instead of a 5-star, but still. And then, indeed, Alberto got nailed once again with the ladder, and RVD took back control. He was going for a big finish move. He even tried to go for a Van Terminator again. He got the chair again. But Alberto, I knew he was going to duck out of it, and he did. He avoided the Van Terminator, which set up for a drop Toho into a chair, which was folded down by Alberto, which set up for another attempt at the cross arm breaker following a super kick by wrenching RVD's arm against the steel chair and then weakening it before cinching in the cross arm breaker once again. And unfortunately, RVD had to tap out. The only problems I have in this match, besides the obvious being no blood because it's TVPG, I wish there was more weapons used. You know, I did like the fact they used a chair, a ladder, and a trash can. You know, they did use a trash can. Like, Del Rio basically was the one using the trash can. But I wish they listened to the fans. You know, WWE is all about listening to the fans. Well, why didn't you listen to the fans when they were chanting, "We want tables"? So I wish they would have flung out the tables and more candlesticks. But I think they're saving those for another match. We would see later on. But still, I think a pretty good opening matchup for the main card. You know, too bad most of the matches didn't live up to it. 3.2 for this matchup. I don't think I've been hearing was RVD's contract being up, so that's why he lost. So there you go. Great extreme match. Wish there was more weapons and blood, but still pretty intense physical matchup between these two guys. Now, on with our next match, a last-minute match. As the Real Americans, Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro, with the manager in the corner, Zap Coulter, took on KHALI and Santino Marella. We saw what happened on Raw Monday with Antonio Cesaro losing to Santino Marella following the Cesaro swing, knocking Santino so senseless, but he still got the surprise pin. And God, you think it was like you went from that great matchup with RVD and Alberto. Like I said, the ratcheting up the undercard didn't live up to the main event or the first match. You had RVD and Alberto, then you had Santino and KHALI and Hornswoggle. You can tell how fast this pay-per-view is going to go down quick. It's basically Cesaro and Swagger, as you can tell, carried the fucking match. You know, these two are the consummate professionals and wrestlers, and they basically carried the match. You know, you can tell because Santino's an okay guy, but he's an okay, adequate wrestler, and KHALI just can't wrestle for shit. You can tell how sloppy he was when he got in there. Anyway, of course, Santino took the brunt of the punishment, getting Iceland in the corner with the quick tags in and out and great double team by both Cesaro and Swagger, really taking it to Santino. Santino did try the Cobra at one point during the match on Cesaro until Cesaro blocked it. Actually, Swagger blocked it. And Swagger almost got Cobra because even Hornswoggle had a Cobra. Wow. But then Swagger took that off, preventing that. And of course, after the Santino Cobra was swatted, of course, Cesaro, they basically, like I said, they isolated Santino corner for the most half of the matchup until Santino, after getting punished by both Cesaro and Swagger, the most athletic wrestlers, you know, the very amateur guys. Here comes KHALI coming in, of course, sloppy as hell, chopping everybody inside and dominating with the KHALI grip and chopping everybody to hell with the sloppy kicks, And then Swagger breaks up a count from KHALI, which almost got the 3. And then Swagger got taken out by Alberto. Not Alberto. Swagger got taken out by Santino. With both those guys out, it was left to KHALI and Cesaro. And KHALI tried to control again, but then Cesaro, being a small wrestler that he is, did a chop block to KHALI's knee. Which set up, yes, the Cesaro swing on the KHALI. Swinging. KHALI goes a swinging indeed. And after a few times, I think they had a mild landing, which led to Cesaro pinning KHALI. 1, 2, 3 victory for Cesaro and Swagger, the We Americans. We the people. I'll give this match a 2.2 because I like Cesaro swing. You know, I like Cesaro. I've always liked him. He's a very athletic guy, and I hope he gets a big push like ZIGGLER. I saw the push ZIGGLER signs. Before we get to our next matchup, I'd like to mention 2 things about the staging and the cameras. I like the staging tonight. I like the entrance. The big giant screen background, that was kind of cool. And what's also cool was when they did the replays, there were slow motion camera shots. We saw a slow motion camera shot of KHALI's hair flying around and the Cesaro swing, so there you go with that. On with our next match, which was for the Intercontinental Championship, made just days ago. R-Truth, after getting a pin, non-title pin over the IC Champion, thanks to a little help from CM Punk. Punk's music hitting. Of course, I'm going to show tonight. Curtis Axel would defend the IC Championship against R-Truth. R-Truth had a big opportunity, you know, being given to him by the McMahon Helmsley regime, Part 2.0. So, R-Truth wanted to make the best out of his opportunity to be a champ again. He's a former United States champion. They didn't mention tag champ, fuckers. Speaking of championship, they forgot to mention. They mentioned RVD was a former WWE champion, former ECW champion, and former ECW tag champ. They forgot to mention he was the longest reigning ECW television champion for 18 months. Anyway, so R-Truth, knowing that this was a big opportunity for him, came in like a man possessed, trying to have something to prove, trying to show something to prove here. He had a lot to prove, and he came in with this big high flying, you know, hippity hop moves with the big kicks and clotheslines until indeed Axel with his slide cutting way with the powers, cuckoo cuckoo at ringside. He got back in the game, taking Truth out to the ringside area and dominating about him. That's what basically gave him the advantage for the second half of the matchup. Choking him on the ropes and really dominating him with some power moves and chin locks and weakening moves. But indeed, Truth came flying back with his moves, the splits and everything, and trying to get the big victory and grind to win the Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his illustrious career. Until the Axel came back with some big kicks. And then R-Truth came back trying to go for his big move, the what's up move, till Axel countered it, hanging on to the ropes, snapping the head, and Axel got his big finish, the Hangman's facebuster, and a 1-2-3 victory for Curtis Axel. It was an okay matchup. You know, like I said, the pay-per-view went really down from here. The matches in the other card was just okay to me. 2.0 for this match. It was just okay. You know, R-Truth did okay in this matchup. And Axel looked decent in this matchup, but still, it was just, you know, there you go. Now, on our next matchup, which was the Divas Championship match. Brie Bella, of course, accompanied by her sister Nikki, would take on AJ Lee with Tamina and Hulk on her. Of course, Brie, the fiance of Daniel Bryan, who would go up for the WWE Championship tonight. They were trying to be the power couple. I applaud the power couple polls they had. Edge and Lita won power couple. They were really dominant. I love Randy Savage and Elizabeth, but I'm happy Edge and Lita won that poll over Triple H and Stephanie. That was cool. Anyway, with this next match, like I said, Divas matchup. Decent Divas matchup for being what it is. AJ really came in like a woman possessed, delivering the first shot by slapping the hell out of Brie Bella. Oh, did Brie slap AJ? It was Brie smacking AJ. Sorry. But it was a little slapping match until Brie took him on. And I think Brie's gotten okay better, but still, it ain't saying much for the Bellatrix. It's weird to see them as faces now. You know, they were faces at first, then they turned heel, and now they're faces again, because now they're feuding against AJ. So, Brie Bella was trying to, she had the advantage early on, too. Of course, AJ, cutting crazy ways for being a crazy girl, a crazy bitch, what you may call her. She indeed got back with some hair pulling and some okay moves, and she even, I thought she was going to try to go for the Black Widow, but I'm surprised she never attempted the Black Widow at all tonight, which was very surprising. But indeed, following AJ's trying to come back and try to save her title by stopping away and twisting the arm, trying to go through some submission things, maybe trying to weaken the arm, but Black Widow, which never happened. Brie came back with some face buster moves and big kicks and clotheslines on AJ, and as Brie was I think Brie was very close to go to put the final nail in AJ's coffin to try to basically get the victory. Tamina had to get involved by distracting Brie by choking out Nikki. With Brie distracted, with her sister being the damsel in distress, AJ took advantage of that distraction. Well done, Brie Bella. 1, 2, 3 victory for AJ, retaining her Divas Championship with a little help from her friend. Oh, AJ won with a little help from her friend Tamina. 2.2 for that Divas match. It was okay. Divas match. Let's move on with our next match. The big match. Big match for the Rhodes family. It was Cody Rhodes and Goldust. Funky new face paint right away. Wow. It was weird face paint. You know, like it's usually been all gold on his face, and then you see the black on his ears. Goldust, but then it was like little gold streaks and like black background. It was like a weird. I think he had a new costume too. And I think you can kind of tell the way the match was going to go. With the jobs in a line in this matchup as they would take on the Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Ambrose would be in their corner, and then Dusty Rhodes would be in the corner of his two children, his two sons. This is probably the second best, actually the third best match tonight besides the main event. Means screwing and all, but still. Cody and Dustin, Goldust. His new costume is weird, but I like it. You know, the new alteration on the face paint job. You know, having gold and black together. So it's kind of a weird way to see it. But hey. Anyway, of course, Cody and Dustin had a lot going for them because, of course, they had a lot on the line. You know, their jobs. And in the storyline way, I kind of suspected them to get the victory because this would be the way to bring back Cody. You know, Cody was storyline fired because of his wedding, and now I think this is going to be the way to invite him back in the storyline. And of course, Cody, like a man possessed, he started out, and then the crowd wanted Goldust. I think Goldust once again looked very good, like he did in his match against Randy when he was trying to fight for Cody's job back a couple weeks back in this storyline. So Goldust got in, he looked very good in his matchup. But of course, despite Cody and Goldust's best efforts to get control in their favor, of course, the Shield, knowing them and their cunning, sly, cheating ways, always find a way to get back in the match when they are down. Even in an 11-on-3 handicap match, they always find a way to come back. And they did, with some sly, cunning moves, and of course, isolating Cody in their corner for the most half of the matchup after Goldust got in. Cody got isolated for the later half of this matchup after their early offensive counters and their offensive fury. Like I said, Shield isolated Cody, quick tagging in and out. You know, isolating, going to pummeling him, preventing him from tagging Goldust. Even the fans were chanting for him. Like I said, crowd was really chanting for Goldust. Then Goldust did get the hot tag in from Cody and started coming around like a man possessed. Coming in with hammer fist and big clotheslines and big atomic drops. Until indeed, they found a way to indeed get back in the game. The Shield did. As indeed they took Goldust out a little bit with the barricade. Cody got back in, nailing a springboard move, even hitting a Alabama Slam after nailing Rollins in the nuts, paying tribute to his brother, and of course Alabama Slam paying tribute to his former tag team partner, champion partner from a few years back. Of course, referring to Hardcore Holly. After that, he even got to nail a move, nailing with a muscle buster. It looked like an electric chair, but it was a muscle buster. And then Rollins got the pin, or got pinned by Cody till Reigns broke it up, and Then Goldust got in. And then even Ambrose got in. Ambrose got involved. Until Dusty got involved, whipping the hell out of Ambrose with the belt. And then delivering the atomic elbow. After that, with Ambrose taken out, they gave Cody and Dustin the advantage to get the job done. With the beautiful disaster kick coming in. And then Cody, after Rollins trying to roll up Cody after Dusty delivered the elbow to Ambrose, Cody nailed the crossroads on Rollins. And the 1, 2, 3 victory for Cody and Dustin. They got their jobs back and they saved Dusty's job as a worker in NXT. And this is a pretty good tag match, you know. Shield did a good job, and Cody and Goldust not teaming up together in WWE or any other division. It was good to see them team up, and after the match, they were celebrating, and here comes the locker room coming out. You know, Dawn Anderson came out, and hugged Dusty, and Dusty with all these guys. Even Fit Finley, I can't believe that we hired him as a backstage guy, but you know, Mike Mattel and all the locker room guys came out celebrating with Cody and Dusty, and Dustin getting the jobs back. You know, nice to see Goldust back. You know, he looks great. I'm glad he's not fat anymore. He came back once and he was like really, really fat. So I'm glad he got up for this. I think 2.5 for this matchup. It's a very decent tag match. Nice to see Cody and Goldust storyline get their jobs back. Now I want another match, which last minute addition, but it kind of stemmed from an incident on Raw last week. Kofi Kingston won a match, but then the Wyatt family came out and talked to them on the microphone, which led to this match: Kofi Kingston against Bray Wyatt. Wow, this is interesting. This is probably this is another decent match in the upper mid undercard, despite being last minute. It was actually not that bad of a matchup. There was some great spots in this. I liked Bray Wyatt was going for a move, and I liked Kofi's counter, like a little side slam or something. That was a cool move from Kofi. And then the creepiest thing later on was when Bray Wyatt, I can't even do it. He walked backwards like a fucking spider. It was freaky. You know, I've always applauded Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family for being creepy. You know, I like their entrance and all. I've always said about their entrance. You know, they have the best entrance besides Taker's. You know, the way the lights go out, the way they go out with the lantern. I've always applauded their entrance. But now they're just exemplified, just added to the creepy meter with that spider move by Bray Wyatt. That was just scary as hell. You know, it's almost Halloween, so it makes fucking sense. Anyway, Kofi did try for his big move. Kofi did have the advantage early on with his fast speed moves, trying to nail the 12 in Paradise at one point after successfully connecting the boom drop. But of course, Bray Wyatt's power and strength got the best of him, got the best of Kofi, and he really dominated the later half of the matchup, avoiding the SOS move by Kofi, and had a great series of counters, which led to a out of nowhere Sister Abigail move, not the kiss. As Kofi was going for a big move, that's when it was like fast out of nowhere. It was like they were going like a sequence of events. Then out of nowhere, the setup for the Sister Abigail, boom, 1, 2, 3. Bray Wyatt gets the victory over Kofi Kingston. But they weren't done. Harper and Rowan, the other members of the Wyatt family, feasted on Kofi, following the matchup, beating him up before, of course, Bray had another spooky little speech that there is no Wyatt and there's no wall, and all of these people being fed false ideals. And everybody will fall one by one, and they will follow the buzzards. That's how we end. 2.2 for that match, too. You know, there was another okay matchup in the mid-card, undercard. Just because there was some okay, decent spots, and Kofi, I wish Kofi would get pushed a lot more, but because he was decent in this match, he looked very good in this matchup. Bray Wyatt did too. That spider move was insane. You know, adding to the keeping you know that they already accomplished, the Wyatt family. Now with our co-main event, WYATT taking on CM Punk, of course, with the Paulers back in the ringside area with WYATT. I said in my SummerSlam review when Punk worked with Brock Lesnar that I've said that Punk and Chris Jericho and Daniel Bryan are 3 guys who I think can have a good match with just about anybody. When it comes to Punk having a good match with just anybody, WYATT's the exception. You know, we've seen Ryback and CM Punk wrestle many times before in the last year or so in the Hell in a Cell matches and all that. And it still doesn't matter. Ryback still can't fucking wrestle, and I'm glad the fans chanted it. To Goldberg. I mean, Ryback. I mean, needs to be fired. Punk, in the early going to matchup, Punk tried for his big moves, but Ryback was just too relentless on him. You know, he was just grappling with them and just toying with them with the power moves, whatever moves he's got, you know, because he's Ryback. Yeah. But despite Ryback delivering the punishment to Punk in the early going of this matchup, Punk indeed came back with his big moves, the elbow move, the big knees twice to Ryback. And he had a weakened at one point in the matchup following a beatdown from Ryback. He was ready to put him to sleep. But then Paul Heyman got on the microphone and spoke a little about hi, I'm Paul Heyman. I'm the best in the world because I beat Punk. That distraction, Ryback capitalized on it by beating down Punk again for this later half of the matchup. And as Ryback was once again feeding on Punk, Punk indeed came for the comeback again. I think that's when he finally nailed the elbow again. And even Punk got powerbomb at least once or twice. Well, at least twice attempt by Ryback, which led towards the second attempt. Punk countered with a hurricanrana. That was a decent counter. But then that's when Punk was trying to come back. And then Heyman, trying to weaken Punk, he got and I should have guessed he was going to grab a Kindle stick, which is why he wasn't using the Rob Van Dam Alberto match. So Heyman grabbed the Kindle stick. He was about to nail Punk with it, with Ryback distracting the referee. And then Heyman got caught by the referee before he could use it. That enabled the referee to be distracted while Punk had his own little sneaky move, low-blown Ryback. With Ryback out with a low blow, 1, 2, 3, Punk gets a victory by stealing a game plan from the Paul Heyman playbook. A cheap, sneaky way to get the victory over Ryback. So there you go. 2.0. I'll give Punk credit. Like the Swagger Cesaro match against Santino and KHALI, Punk carried the match. You know, Punk can have a good match with Lesnar, but not Ryback. Because Ryback just can't fucking wrestle. Now, the main event for the WWE Championship was about to be decided between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. We had the intro video. You know, intro video play, and then lost signal. I thought it was me. You know, I was watching it at a friend's house, and I thought it was my cable network. I thought it was DirecTV. But then I went on Facebook, and then it was all over. You know, I was like, wow. Everyone was making their jokes, you know. Ring of Honor, because everyone knows Ring of Honor's shitty-ass pay-per-views always go out. And then there was all the jokes saying that Sin Cara's running the show. So, there was a lot of jokes about Sin Cara botching it, you know. It was like, I think it was like 5 minutes. I thought the pay-per-view was over. I thought they were not going to go back on in time before 11. Thankfully, like I said, after 5 minutes, WWE got back on, and they said that was a power outage at Battleground. What, Beyonce had another halftime show? Like at the Super Bowl? Where WrestleMania 30 is going to be at the Superdome in Louisiana? So that was like very weird situation with this power outage. Now, before we get to our main event, I need to mention that Triple H and Stephanie weren't there tonight at the pay-per-view. They said they were away at a business meeting. So I thought it was a way to white them out, but still, with no Triple H and Stephanie, Brad Maddox was left to run the show. Because after the Rhodes and Shield match didn't go Triple H's way, what was good for his business, Brad Maddox had to take control of the pay-per-view, which he kind of did during our main event, which finally happened after a little delay. Randy Orton against Daniel Bryan. I think the crowd was dead because the power outage took a lot of them because they were waiting for the matchup and the power outage happened. I hope to see some YouTube fan videos of the fans in the crowd at the pay-per-view filming the power outage. So, indeed, the fans, once again, were very pro Daniel Bryan. And it was like the first 5 to 10 minutes was kind of slow. You know, both guys were jockeying for position because every time D-Bryan was trying to go for his power moves, Orton would always come back with his moves, the big clotheslines, the uppercuts. They even had an uppercut battle. There was a couple decent spots in this. Orton beat up Daniel Bryan outside the ring a few times, you know. But my favorite spots was when they were doing the uppercut battles. They're trying to out uppercut Notorious Assault because of nasty uppercuts. I like that spot when later in the match when Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan had the uppercut battle. And they also had a punch match with the fans saying, yes, no, yes, no. And that later had the matchup after Orton came back with his moves for the later matchup. Of course, DIVAS came back with his moves. You know, flying moves, the flying splash on the middle rope, you know, the flying headbutt and everything. And even Orton, he had a submission on Daniel Bryan at one point in the matchup. A Boston Crab, you know. It would be weird to see Orton win the matchup with a submission over Daniel Bryan. You know, Daniel Bryan's the submission guy. And then Daniel Bryan got a great counter out of that to a great counter in a pinfall, which was a near fall, but still not bad at all. Of course, these guys were giving it all because this is a huge match. This is for the vacant WWE Championship. And we would hope they would find out a new champion tonight. Whereas we would see. Well, anyway. Then, as D-Bar was going for his big moves, trying to go for the S-Lock, they nailed the big elbows and the big headbutts and everything. When D-Bar got on a wall, Orton nailed him again, setting him up for the Hangman DDT, which he connected, and setting up for the RKO, which I thought was going to be over after that. But the RKO was countered by Daniel Bryan, turned into the S-Lock. But just as Daniel Bryan had the S-Lock going, and it looked like Randy was going to tap out, well, here comes the Big Show. I should have thought, I knew in my head some screw was going to happen, like some interference, like the Shield. But I should have not have guessed the Big Show would come out. And Big Show came to the ring. He punched out the referee. He put the referee out, knocked him out. Then, he knocked out Daniel Bryan, which I knew immediately what was going on. He was once again forced to knock out Daniel Bryan because Brad Maddox was trying to get the control back because Triple H wasn't there, so Brad Maddox thought he would control the Big Show. So when the Big Show knocked out the first referee and knocked out Daniel Bryan, here comes another referee. Scott Armstrong, the referee that was fired by Triple H for that quick count and not a championship, which led to this matchup. So Scott Armstrong came down to the ring. And then Big Show knocks out Scott Armstrong as well. It's like, wow. Big Show's fighting rebellion. We could see this intention with Big Show building. Because Big Show's he's finally had enough to hear with Triple H's bullshit. You know, you can see it on wall with he was venting in an interview and he was waiting in Triple H's locker room for 15 minutes last Monday. Wanted to knock out Triple H, but never did because the police came trying to arrest him. So after Big Show knocked out the first referee, then knocked out Scott Armstrong after knocking out Daniel Bryan. You know, listen to Triple H, then he finally rebelled by knocking out the second referee. Then getting in the ring and old guy in the Big Show's face saying, "What have you done, Big Show? You're going to get a lot of trouble from Triple H tomorrow on Raw." Then Big Show had enough. Boom. Knocked out Randy Orton. And that was it. That was the end of the Battleground. With everybody was knocked out besides Brad Maddox. 2 referees were down. Daniel Bryan was down. Big Show was dominant, knocking out Orton as well. So we had Battleground with no new WWE champion. Good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing it was like a weird ending. You know, I should have thought a shitty ending was going to happen, a screwy ending, but I didn't expect Big Show to knock everybody out. But at least it was a good thing. It was a good thing for 2 reasons. It added more to this whole Big Show Triple H tension problems. You can only imagine what Triple H's reaction is going to be. Triple H is going to be like, "I'm gone from this pay-per-view. When, you know, I'm not at this pay-per-view, and what happens? Cody and Goldust get their jobs back, and Big Show starts knocking everybody out. He knocked out D-Pie, but then he knocked out Randy Orton too. He's going to get punished." And the other thing is, it's going to set up the next pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell. I thought Hell in a Cell was done. I thought they were only going to do 1 pay-per-view in October, not 2. But now Hell in a Cell is going to happen in 3 weeks. So it was a build-up. It was a proper way to build up Hell in a Cell. Because that's the way it's going to end. That's the only way I think it's going to end. The right way it should end. Hell in a Cell. That's what all good feuds should end with. All good feuds always end in a steel cage match or a Hell in a Cell match. Not in a regular match. Which I was surprised there was no stipulation at all. Which should have made me guess in the first place that there would be some sort of shitty situation like this to set up Hell in a Cell. That's my prediction right now. I think everybody else is going to predict the same. Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, 3 in Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. I think the title will be vacant until Hell in a Cell now. So there you go. Mid-card, undercard was okay. We had a power outage, and still no new WWE Champion with Big Show on a Knockout Frenzy. Once again, review of this pay-per-view rating. 6.5 out of 10. That's my WWE Battleground review for tonight. I'll see you all later. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great night, everybody. Yeah.